So these are 6 things that I really think you need to know before you buy the brand new Logitech RS Track wheel. I've been using this wheel, I've been racing with it. I actually won a time trial competition on it as well. So I'm going to start with the form factor. I think this is a negative actually from a stylistic point of view because it doesn't look realistic. And I think a lot of people are going to want a rim on their rig that looks like it could be in a real car. That's where the direction of the industry is going a lot of ways. We see Fanatec making the BMW M4 GT3 wheel that works in a real car. I am at the moment using an Asher McLaren GT4 wheel that goes in a real car. And this is very different from that. They've made a stylistic choice. There's also a functional side of it as well. I'm going to get onto function later. But on the stylistic side, I think it's going to put people off. So obviously when you look at it, you're going to know it looks unusual. It's got these open handles on either side. It doesn't have a top bar on the rim. It's more like a yoke. It's kind of a bit like the Tesla wheel, I think, but even more different from that. So I wanted to flag that. If you buy this wheel, you're going to have a form factor that doesn't look realistic, and therefore it might look more gamery, and that's going to be a turn off. Another negative, actually, for me, is that you can't get this in one unit. You can't just buy it off the shelf and have it as a singular unit you're going to attach to your Logitech G Pro. It's on the new hub system with Logitech. You have to buy the RS hub and then the track wheel. Now, for me, when I recommend Logitech equipment like the G923 for beginners or the G Pro, I do it a lot of time because of simplicity. I know, in my experience, I've used the G Pro for 2 years and it's just worked. And it's very solid and there's not a lot of things that can go wrong. And that's why I recommend it. This with the hub system, there's more likelihood of compatibility issues, or you're going to buy it, it's going to be in 2 separate parts. You're not going to know what to do. I do want to, there's one more negative with that, by the way, which is that because that is on the hub system, you're not going to get clutch paddles. So my current G Pro rim has clutch paddles, but the hub does not. So you're not going to be able to use this form factor with clutch paddles. Now, I don't use the clutch paddles on my G Pro. I've got to be honest, I've tried to map them in different ways, but I just don't use it. Right now, I'm also using an Asher, like I said, McLaren GT4 esports rim that doesn't have clutch paddles. So I like the simplicity, but I know a lot of people are going to want clutch paddles, so I want you to know that. And it might be the case that I'm overplaying this as a concern because it should be simple. Anyone buying it should be able to understand. But I do think there's potentially a risk that someone is going to buy a G Pro base, a G Pro pedals, and just the RS Track wheel. I honestly think that may happen as an edge case. And so that's why I include it in these videos. However, Logitech did say in the presentation I went to that they are going to include a compatibility checker on their website. So hopefully it won't let you sort of complete a basket unless you've all got the bits that are needed to make it work. That's a big difference from Fanatec. I did a whole video on the Fanatec buying process with their QRs. And in my opinion, it just wasn't clear enough for consumers. And the comments under that video are very interesting. Because a lot of people saying, oh, you know, if you're going to spend this amount of money, then it's up to you to know. And if you don't know, then you're stupid. And a lot of people saying, look, this is really not clear. So hopefully Logitech have thought about that. I give Logitech a lot of feedback about products and buying processes. And hopefully they're taking that on board. We'll see. There is a benefit with the hub as well, which is that when you look at the price point, so we're going to talk about positive now, the pricing, with the hub and the track wheel. And I think if you use my discount, so I have had a Logitech G discount for years now. And this is where it's really going to come into its own. So if you use the code Kireth at logi.gg/Kireth, I think you're going to get 5 or 10% off. And that's going to bring the price down of the hub and the track wheel, I think, to sub $200, which is very, very, very competitive. That is extremely competitive. We're talking competing with the Fanatec McLaren GT3 V2. We're talking competing with the Thrustmaster 488. We're talking massively undercutting the Moser KS rim as well. So Logitech have really gone for this in price. Now I want to talk about functionality, speed. I want to talk about build quality as well, positives, but I want to do one more negative, which is, I'm not sure anyone's going to speak about this. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. I've been using this rim, like I said, won the competition with it, but I just want to let you know because I think a lot of people are going to buy this. And as always in this channel, in good conscience, I want you to know all the pros and cons that I can give you before you buy. So it's got these open ends on either side at the top. Just one thing I want you to bear in mind is that the Logitech G Pro is quite a powerful wheelbase. It's an 11 Newton meter wheelbase, so it's double the power of like a Moser R5, for example. It's more powerful than the Moser R9. It's way more powerful than G923 or, you know, T300 or something like that. So if this wheel is spinning because you take your hands off it, those ends could kind of punch you like a little thumb, if that makes sense. That's not going to happen with the steering wheel because there's no ends as such, it's just a smooth rounded edge. But I wanted to let you know that if you've got maybe young kids who might be using this, that's something I want to flag, is that if this wheel is going to be spinning and oscillating with your hands not on it, if those ends come into contact with you, it could be like being punched a little bit, so I want you to be aware of that. But we're getting to the level now where these things are not toys, and in fact I want to get onto build quality right now, because the build quality of this wheel, from what I've been using, is absolutely incredible. I'm very, very, very impressed by the build quality of the wheel. It's got the same aluminium finish as the G Pro, which I think is an incredible finish, and the grips as well felt amazing. And I have to say, let's talk about performance now. The performance I had on this wheel was really good, and I think there's a reason for that, and I think I know why they've designed it this way. Because actually, the way you hold on to the handles, you kind of grip the handles like they're joysticks, and that means you really feel the true force. This might be why no one else has actually come out with a rim like this. I was on Forza Motorsport, I was using it, and oh my goodness, you could really feel every detail when you go over the curbs and everything. We know True Force is really good, we know the G Pro force feedback generally is really good, but the way you hold this and grip it means that you'll kind of have a really good and tight feel on the wheel, but you're not over tensing it. If you over grip a standard GT3 wheel, you're going to be really doing it in a way that it's not designed to. You're meant to kind of hold it in a fairly relaxed manner. This you can actually grip, I think, and it's not going to cause you any issues with performance. So I really enjoyed it. Obviously you lose the clutch paddles, that means it's simple on the back with the shifters, and it just gives you freedom as well on the top. Like, I've never really thought about it because I've never seen this form factor before, but you can just take your hands off, you can kind of be free, you can check your phone, you can do whatever and slot them back in very easily. So it's a really relaxing style as well. Now, I want to talk about the build quality and button placement. I gave some negatives on the hub, but you actually can't really even tell there's a hub when it's on. In fact, if you showed this to someone with it attached to the hub, I don't think they would know that it's a hub and separate sort of rim system. So what that means is you do get all of the benefits of having a GT3 wheel like this, but then unscrewing a few screws, you can actually change it and do it on a round wheel. So that's why they've done it, and I wonder if actually the smart move to do is to get this and get the round wheel as well, and then you're covered. I think that would be about $270, $280, and then you're covered for round wheel use and you're covered for GT3 wheel use for the same price, for example, as a Moser KS rim. And if you wanted to get a Fantech P1 and McLaren GT3, it's going to cost you way more than that. So obviously Logitech have thought about this for a long time. I've been using the G Pro for 2 years now and it hasn't put a foot wrong, so I feel comfortable recommending it. Obviously this product I haven't used for 2 years, so there might be more issues that come up with it that I'm not aware of, but I want to flag all the pros and cons I know at the moment. If you do decide to buy it, there is a link in the description. It might send me some commission, I'm not actually sure, but it should definitely give you a discount. So go check that out, check out the pricing, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.